people to 80 people across geographies. I've spearheaded AI KPIs at a CXO level. In my journey, I have not just worked on the technical aspects, but I've worked across the entire life cycle of AI, right from AI strategy vision onto even GTM sales and how do you set up world-class AI teams and the people aspects. Worked on all aspects of AI again from verticalization in terms of NLP, vision, speech, data science. I led AI efforts at possibly one of the earliest startups to be funded purely for its AI capabilities. This was back in 2013. This entire effort led to an acquisition and later on to an IPO. Today, I work and advise a bunch of organizations across US, Europe, and India on the AI piece. So, if you are an AI first organization, that is where I bring the, the greatest value addition. Like I said, I work with founders, CXOs, and VCs and help them get the various facets of AI journey: strategy, vision, fundraising, road mapping, modeling, implementation, GTM sales, nurturing world-class AI teams, and setting up AI Center of Excellence. These are some of the logos I have been associated with me in my journey. One of our portfolio companies recently demoed their flagship AI system to none other than Sam Altman and Vinod Khosla. I think two people who are right now at the very forefront of this AI revolution. I've had a chance of authoring a major book in AI. The book is endorsed by some of the topmost people globally, coming from Zachary Lipton, who is a professor at Carnegie Mellon and a director at Amazon Science, Sebastian Ruder, who is a very well-known NLP scientist, earlier at DeepMind, now at Cohere, Monojit Chaudhary, a principal researcher, Mark, who almost leads a 70 people team at DeepMind, Mengting Van, Vinayak, and Julian, and many, many more. The book is already translated in 5 languages, has more than 200 citations. Uh, the book gives a pragmatic view of how do you approach AI when you're part of product teams as opposed to research labs. Unfortunately, Malti could not join us. She wasn't well on her health. Uh, So let's start with the oh, kind of phase. Am I audible loud and clear to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
How do you see this new AI era?
It's a beast. There's only two types of companies in this world, Morgan: those who are great at AI and everybody else. If you don't know AI, you are going to fail. Period. End of story. Whether you are an employee, you're going to have to understand it, impact how it impacts your job or how you can use it to be better at your job. Same if you're a student, the same thing. And if you're a CEO, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to get my tech guys to understand it and educate me on it. You have to understand it because it will have significant impact on every single thing that you do.
I'm sure most of you know this gentleman. He is Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is the original OG judge on Shark Tank US back in 2010. Uh, there are two very important aspects that Mark Cuban has raised in this conversation, right? One, there are going to be two type of companies in the world going forward: those that are great at AI and everybody else. And if you are not good at AI, your chances of survival are going to be fairly low. Two, you cannot just no longer say, hey, this is a tech thing, so only the engineers or the engineering managers or the CTOs will look at it. Every single person in the organization who has any amount of influence needs to understand it themselves, right? There is no doing away with that fact, right? Gen AI as an era, we all understand, started with the release of ChatGPT. This was November of 2022, right? It's already been more than 18 months, almost 20 months now, right? Uh, why was ChatGPT a game changer? If you look carefully, so far, all the interactions that we have had with machines used to be very precise. That is because the language between humans and machines was closer to how machines look at things rather than how humans tend to converse. One of the big things that has started to come in post generative AI is that the conversation between humans and machines have gone to a level where it is closer to how humans interact with each other, right? So that's one big change I would say, right, in the last 20 months. Second big change, which is extremely important for anybody who is a leader out here in any capacity, is that if you want to do a POC today, you don't necessarily need a AI team. A smart business leader and a smart product leader with a bunch of engineers can get together and create a POC or a prototype, right? Third big change that has happened with generative AI is that machines can now generate content. And this is not just limited to text. Text generation, or I would say even up to a level, image generation, was already there in 2016, 2018 with RNNs and GANs. But one, the quality wasn't the greatest. Two, uh, around audio, video, and data, there wasn't much, right? All of this has changed drastically with the advent of Gen AI. Okay. Now it was for sure, right? I mean, something like this will start a madness, and that is what happened in the world, right? All across the world, no matter who you are, you have to be sitting under a stone today to not know about Gen AI, right? You could be a business leader, you could be a doctor, you could be a politician. In every corridor of power today, world is talking about generative AI, and I think that's the greatest achievement of ChatGPT. I just want to call out the fact that a lot of people think AI has happened only in last 18 months. That's a very incorrect way of looking at things. AI is a very, very old technology. It has been around for the longest time. Just that it has largely lived in the research labs as opposed to day-to-day work, right? That is another big change that ChatGPT brought. And of course, that meant there would be a madness in the market. However, things aren't all that rosy, right? So while billions of dollars are being poured into AI slash Gen AI, right? Most companies, most teams are not seeing any ROI from these efforts. These are two numbers that came from a recent survey by MIT, whereby they found that 86% of the models that are built in industry never go into production. Organizations, 8 out of 10 organizations, are not seeing any or very little ROI from their AI efforts. Right? When I say ROI, I mean revenue or market dominance, at least one of the two. Right? Being able to build a model which has 93% accuracy, that is not ROI. That is an intermediate step to the end business goals. Okay. Any questions so far? If you have questions, please type in the chat box. Right. Uh, Sorry, is my voice not clear, Akshat? I saw the comment right now. If anything is not clear, guys, just unmute and tell me, because I am right now sitting on the slide piece uh, and not on the interface of this conversation that is happening, a meeting piece. Okay, just unmute and let me know if anything is not clear. If you have any questions, should I move on? Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
Okay, cool. Let's move on. Fine. If you were to ask me why things are the way it is, based on my 20 years of journey in AI, having done this day in, day out, I would say if I were to summarize this in one image, I would say this one image. So the AI industry is running after the price purely based on this model first narrative, not giving any importance to lot of other elements which are extremely necessary. One way, one analogy you can look at is, or to understand this is, imagine you're trying to build an aeroplane. Sorry, right? Of course, engine is an important component of an aeroplane. But you can't just focus only on engine. You need to have a cockpit, you need to have wings, you need to have landing gears, you need to have communication. Aeroplane is built of, I think, over 400,000 different parts. You need to look at all of them in totality rather than just getting fixated by saying that, hey, we're going to build one of the best engines in the world. No matter how good an engine you build, you can't just strap your end user to the engine and fly them off, right? The whole idea is to build an aeroplane which is good enough to take off. In the AI world, one of those key elements is, are you looking at the right use cases? And that is what we will be primarily focusing on today. Okay. Uh, this is another extension of the same things. Why things are so bad? Uh, the answer lies in what I call as lack of AI maturity. Most teams, especially the teams that are very new to AI, believe that model building is the key to everything. I build a good model and story is done. Truth is far from it. Truth is that uh, getting to a good model is only 10% of the game, and that too happens over a period of time. It does not happen overnight. There's this large part of 90% of the game which people have no idea about it. Uh, I have divided this 90% across four pillars. I call them technology, people, processes, and economics. It consists of 35 ingredients that teams have to get right to be able to get to this AI magic. It is not that AI magic is some fluff. No, it is very much possible. Just that the path to it is not as simple as from this import this. No, that way you can only build a model. And like I said, model is only 10% of the game. That too, getting to a good model happens over a period of time, which could be anywhere between 6 months to 24 months. Okay. Okay. Now, what's the role of product teams? I mean, right? Most of you are associated with product teams in some sense or the other. If you were to look at a traditional product manager, it will largely be a game of tech, business, and UX, right? Somewhere at the intersection of the three is where a traditional product manager, when I say traditional, I mean software 1.0 or the deterministic software that all of us have been building so far, right? When I say the new one, it means the AI first world, right? In the AI first world, a product manager on a product team just doesn't have to be good at tech, business, and UX. They also need to be extremely good at data and AI fluency. They should be able to get the binds and alignment with the senior stakeholders. Most importantly, the responsibility of, are we solving the right problem? Again, I'm going to repeat this phrase. Are we solving the right problem? Are we attacking the right use case? Lies with the product teams. And which is where use case familiarity becomes a very, very important part. Okay. Then some of you might ask, what is the job of the AI team, right? Their job is to figure out, are we building the solution rightly? Okay. So one is a end game in terms of the destination, the other is the path to the end game. I want to call out a lot of people again think that this whole generation of content is very new. No, this is not the first time. This is a very, very famous blog by Andrej Karpathy called Unreasonable Effectiveness of RNNs. This came out in 2015. I think at that point of time he was still a grad student at Stanford, right? This talks of machines that could generate really good content, right? Here is an example that I've put out where back in the day one could create extensions of Harry Potter novels very, very easily. So we took all the Harry Potter novels, fed them to the machines, and then based on those 7, 8 novels, whatever were there, the machine could create the next set of story. It could imagine that entire story. Okay. Let's get some basics also right, because I've also seen a lot of teams of late having or living in this wrong or misconception that generative AI is altogether new thing, very different from the traditional AI. And if you don't know generative AI, you don't know AI. I mean, these are all wrong things. Generative AI is a subset of deep learning. Deep learning is this whole game of artificial neural networks whereby basically if you feed very large amount of data to certain kind of models with certain architectures and you just tell them the end goal, they'll be able to figure out everything else in terms of the relation between the input and the output entirely on their own if trained long enough on massive data sets, right? That's the part that was deep learning. Deep learning started somewhere around 2010 is when the first set of paper, I think, or 2000, late 2009, I think, when the first paper in speech came in deep learning way. Okay, let's get to the part most of you are here for, which are use cases. Please try and understand no amount of exhaustive list can do justice. There's a large number of use cases that GenAI today can be done, right? Please chime in if you don't see your favorite use case out here. Don't be dejected. There is no way I can try and give you an exhaustive list within 1 hour. So pardon me over there. Okay, first and foremost, use generative AI for writing, right? If you look at any tool today, right, be it be a chat GPT or Grammarly, right, which is based on natural language processing, these tools are extremely good at understanding text and creating new writing from scratch, right? Now, entirely based on the kind of workflow you're dealing with in your products, you can apply a generative AI to different stages of writing process, right? This could be about, can you generate new ideas? I have written something, can you give me feedback? I have written some article, can you change the tonality of it depending on the end user or my end needs, right? Can you improve the work, like changing the length, complexity, tone? So, uh, one of the interesting use cases is, and I'm just giving example. Imagine you have written a social media post and you now also want to put it on Twitter. The Twitter always has this limitation of 160 characters. Given the large amount of data ChatGPT has been fed from Twitter, if you give a post and tell Twitter to write in it in a certain way, well within 160 characters, it actually does a very, very good job, right? This is one such example. Today, when I was creating this particular event, and I was using this tool, Luma. Uh, One of the things where how Luma have tried to do is where you have to try and give a brief abstract of the event, and it tries to suggest certain improvements based on whatever you have written using generative AI, right? Likewise, the idea here is look at whatever the end user is doing. Being able to do end to end is not always the best thing. Saying that, oh, you don't do anything, we will write the entire text for you, might not be the best part. So look at the various steps involved in whatever writing is needed, and then accordingly you might want to create the value proposition for it. Okay. Of course, the idea then from an implementation point is always right to be able to draft the text based on the instructions, right? And you can always create several customized versions of your document accordingly, right? So this is one way to look at anything around writing today. Imagine you are a reporter, right? You might want to write an article entirely on your own, or you might want to generate, right? But also involve human in the loop. Don't think of eliminating the human completely, right? AI is not very good at those aspects today, at least. Am I clear so far? Okay, let's move on. So, like writing tasks, right? Let's look at some more examples. Uh, Today, I think the job of HRs has become extremely difficult because all resumes are and all cover letters are equally bad or equally good, right? You can create poems, you can create short stories, you can outline steps and tasks for any project. It could be a personal project saying that, hey, I want to create a trip to XYZ place. Uh, can you give me steps involved, task involved? It can do all of this very, very well. Or imagine I am doing a particular event in the company. Can you tell me how to go about it? So all of those things have become very easy. Social media I've already discussed. Respond to your emails automatically, create specific rules. That's fairly straightforward. One place where AI, generative AI, is fairly good at today is that, owing to the TikToks of the world, most of us have lost our ability to read long documents. All of us, somewhere or the other, look for this 30-second or a 60-second version of things, right? This is where generative AI is extremely good. How good is that summarization for your particular use case that you have in mind? There's something you'll have to do a lot of experiments and figure out in terms of quantifying the goodness of it. Okay. Any questions so far? We have seen some of it. We're gonna see many more of it. I'm gonna take a quick pause so that I know for many of you, AI itself might be very new. I want all of you to digest this. If you have any questions, please let me know right away. Feel free to unmute, ask questions. I would love this to be a lot more interactive rather than the one way it is so far. Okay, while I will give all of you some time to chew over what we have done or discussed so far, I'll quickly take a 5 minute and do a small diversion. So between me and Malti, we are offering a course extremely customized to the product teams on how do you build AI first products. Now, why is this course even needed? Is because, again, a lot of surprise for a lot of teams, but the way all that we have learned in terms of product management while working with software 1.0 unfortunately does not work when applied to the realm of the AI world, right? Uh, Rather, I'll leave an article here that we have. Sorry, just give me a sec. What is it? Yeah. Okay. So I would request all of you, especially those who are new to AI and coming from product teams, to go over this document. This document explains why traditional product management techniques, learnings, playbooks do not apply in the world of the AI first products, right? So the workshop that I and Malti are doing is how do you build as product teams AI first products, right? It's a bespoke training program to help product leaders and managers understand key ingredients needed to build AI powered products, equip them with decision making, and lead AI initiatives with confidence. Uh, this will help you uh, understand how does the AI product life cycle itself flow, because AI development itself is a very different ball game as opposed to typical software development. So your roadmaps are much more likely to go up and down in terms of timelines as opposed to software engineering, right? You need to understand the interplay between data and AI. Most importantly, as product leaders, as product teams, you need to understand the whole game of data collection, right? That is one thing today, even today, you cannot short circuit. How do you design a AI product? What is the role? A lot of product managers are not aware that AI products require very specialized UX. So these are some of the key topics that we cover. This is a 3 weekend workshop, 4 hours every weekend across 3 weeks. So it's a 12-hour workshop. There's a QR code. The link is also given on the slide. Uh, what we also cover is how the product teams can use various AI tools and become more efficient in their day-to-day work. Right? Like I said, this is gonna be 3 Saturdays. It starts from 29th June on 10 a.m. coming Saturday. 4 hours each, remote first. Sorry, Suraj, you
Yeah,
have a
Anuj,
question?
like there is a very small thing. Like I was expecting to hear. Like it's good to know. Like I'm actually building a AI product right now, and I see like my limitations that I face when I was building, let's say, traditional product versus an AI product. Resonate with your thought here, but like, can you like give me some scenario? Like, how do you see it different? Like, can you just take one product, let's say chatbot, or let's say an existing AI calling, or anything, and just like anything that you have worked on specifically, and how would
Okay, I
a
mean, so
traditional, yeah,
if you read this entire article that I've shared, the article
sure,
talks in great detail about why all traditional product management goes for a toss. There, I'll give you a very brief snippet of it. One, AI is stochastic. All the software that the world has built so far is deterministic. How do you ensure that you deliver consistent experience while your underlying system is continuously making mistake? And that mistake is not a bug, it is not a shortcoming of your AI team. It is the very nature of AI. That's how it works. What are feedback loops? What are control loops? What is human in the loop? How do you build all of this in your products? These are extremely important. The link doesn't seem to work. Really? Okay. I am able to open this. Please don't type it. There is a double underscore here. I would suggest just directly copy paste the link. Yeah, Chaitanya, please. I would say just directly do this. Okay. Sorry. Where is my tab? Okay. Uh, how do you go about data collection? One of the fundamental mistakes all teams are making is, most PMs make is, I will collect only those attributes that you tell me. That is a very wrong approach. We teach how YouTube went about building something called a 8M datasets that took 2 years, without which YouTube could not have built any of the AI powered features. Then there is something called economics of AI, right? We explain and help you understand why a lot of teams can pick up wrong use case. One of the contrarian point of view is, look at any company that is building chatbots. All of you will say chatbot is a great use case of AI, right? We show chatbot is an extremely bad use case of AI from a business point of view. No chatbot company today in the world is profitable. I've been an advisor to two of the largest ones in the world. I know what the P&L statement looks like. Okay, these are just some of the facets. Again, I would request all of you to go back, read this particular article. This explains why traditional product management does not work. Now, once you understand the why part, the remaining questions are what, when, where, and how. How do I then learn AI product management? This is what the slide right now on your screen talks about. Okay. Did I answer your question?
yeah, Anuj, I think I need to go to the doc. Yeah, so
This particular workshop is meant for product leaders, head of product, senior product managers, data scientists, and data engineers who are looking to transition into product management, AI product management, and tech product managers. Uh, I'm just gonna leave it for 30 seconds. Anybody wants to catch the QR code? Yeah, Deepak, just give me a minute. I'll just come to you. Okay, Deepak, go ahead, please. You have a question.
So when will this course be offered next? Because I'm traveling for next few weeks. Any idea?
Uh, See, again, it all depends on when can we get the cohort large enough. Typically, it takes time. So right now, I don't have the details. But this course can be attended from anywhere in the world. All you need to spare is 4 hours for next 3 Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. India time right now. I know a lot of people from US have also uh, shown interest in this case. I will come back to the people in the UF time zone very very soon.
And what is the cost of the course?
All of those are given on the link.
Okay.
Please just either scan this QR code or I'll quickly put it in the chat itself. If you just give me a moment.
Thank you.
Uh,
Hi, I'm
yeah,
Bhavya here.
yeah, Bhavya, tell me.
I'm actually a UX consultant. So I'm actually trying to switch to the product management side. But how do I go with this part?
Yeah, so this particular course is about AI product management, right? So since since you're already coming with a lot of extensive background in UX, right? What you'll realize is that in the AI first world, UX becomes all the more very, very important. I'll give a very small example so that all of you will understand. Uh, all of you must have used the autocomplete feature in Gmail, right? You would always see that whatever it is suggesting, it is always shown in gray and not in black. Why? Why not black? Because black suggests hard suggestions. Hard suggestions make sense only when you're super confident in your suggestions. Most AI models are not, including those from Gmail. Hence, it is extremely important to be very soft suggestive, hence shown in gray. Now, this is one part of it. Two, you can't just keep on applying or forcefully applying your predictions or your system predictions to the end user. You have to understand that it is the end user who is much smarter than your systems. How do you judge and how do you build what are called as control loops? How do you build control loops into your product that can understand, hey, things are not working for the end user? So in the Gmail way, and this is what all of you should go back and try. When Gmail is suggesting those next few words, try and press backspace and delete a couple of times. If you do this, I think 5, 7 times, you'll find that the model will stop suggesting anything. Now that's a soft signal that the system takes to understand, hey, things are not working for this particular user, and hence I must stop. So if you ask me, Bhavya, if you can learn, and this is what we teach extensively in our course, UX for AI, absolutely this is a must. A lot of teams today are not aware of, but I'm sure in three months from now they will be, which would make you one of the most wanted people in terms in the job market.
Yeah, thank you, Anuj.
Any other questions before we? Yeah, I'll come to a lot of other use cases, Rajat. Okay, if there are no more questions on the workshop, we can continue with the rest of the flow. Any questions on the material so far in terms of generative AI and the basics and the text generation that I touched upon? Otherwise, I like to motor on. Okay, cool. Uh, One is research. So the idea is that typically, if you if we were to find anything in the world until so far, search was our option or talking to people, right? But search, the way the whole tech works is that the onus is on you still to go on those various links and find out all the information. Now imagine you had a assistant with you to whom you can delegate that work. That person comes back with all the concrete findings, and then you both can have a Q&A or a AMA on top of it, right? Today, with the chat GPTs and the generative AI of the world, you can very easily create V0s of this, where this could be extremely important. So think of a chief financial officer, right? Recently, they have declared their results, they have gone through all the numbers. Now there must be thousands and thousands of numbers, and here is a chief financial officer who has been given a mandate to cut the cost by 5%. How does he even start identifying things? Now this is where you can start building very innovative products where that can be fed with all the financial data, and then can you run a AMA on top of it whereby he can say, okay, show me all the employees or how many employees have taken uh, business class flights, how much was the total expenditure about it, how many trips happened, and so on and so forth, right? He can in a very natural interface talk to the system without an analyst being there. right? And that itself becomes a great use case. So another way is to summarize. I have no idea on a particular topic. Can you summarize that area of interest to me? Again, it might not be factually 100% correct. It might not be the greatest summary, but uh, it is a good enough V0. And that's something all of us need to understand this. Sorry, just one sec. Yeah. Another is, can you create brainstorm lists? Can you tell me, okay, if I want to read more about this topic or if I need to understand more about a certain topic, can you create brainstorm lists for me? Right? Suggest related topics, subtopics for further investigation. So basically, you can create a roadmap kind of a thing for a topic that you have no idea. And within maybe an hour of it, you can get to a point whereby you have some hang of topics, right? Find information, new ideas, like I said, generate list of closest, highest related uh, places or whatever you want to do. Ordered list. This could be food, this could be traveling, this could be nutritious food for your pet, recommend all kind of things for which you might not necessarily have to do all the R&D, right? Ask for list for fun holidays, generate popular gift ideas, popular game ideas, suggest recipes on certain ingredients or culinary style, right? You can now start creating your own recipes, experiment with them, see where all of this. So anything on the listicle side of things, as it is called, right? I'm sure images, videos, all of us understand this, right? So I'm going to go very quickly. Produce images, videos, your imagination, retouch photos, right? Adding, deleting elements of backgrounds, convert 2D to 3D, vice versa. New forms, art styles, combine editing, video footage, add input visual elements, create it interactive. I'm sure all of us have seen enough of this. Let's go to maybe the little more nuanced ones. What is marketing, right? So if you think deeply about marketing, marketing is all about creating these campaigns where you will be able to catch eyeballs. Now, in today's world where all of us are competing with each other for attention of the end user, the campaign needs to be really, really tacky, really, really jazzy. But at the same time, it needs to be short and sweet, right? Which is what makes it difficult. Now, today with generative AI, you can do this the most. As a matter of fact, if there is one area which has had greatest impact out of generative AI, it is the MarTech, right? Today, there are suits, enterprise suits, one of them being Synthesia. I think this company started just 4 years back, and it is already sitting at some 2 billion or 3 billion kind of a valuation, right? You can automate the entire workflow, and the most important aspect being able to create those creatives, right? As a matter of fact, this image itself, I created using generative AI, right? So it is very much possible to be able to create creative. It could be text, it could be audio, it could be video, it could be mix of all of that. Sky is the limit now for you. Any questions so far? Just please unmute and ask, because I'm already on the other screen, so I'm not looking at the screen well, right? Sales is always a very important aspect, right? You can look at optimizing pricing strategies, right? You can design stores and shelf layouts. This is already a project that is happening in Walmart, whereby depending on the average customer spend, can I design the aisles and can I design the stores themselves, right? Can I predict the future demand for supply chain and promotion planning, right? uh, can I look at B2B sales, communication that can be customized down to the end user and not just purely on the industry and the particular persona, right? So far all of this has been done at cohort levels, fairly large cohort levels. Imagine you were to do this at a level of cohort equal to 1 or cohort size equal to 1 for each of the cohorts. What would it look like? Right? You can generate, sales staff can include AI generated images to further enhance product appearance, to be able to sell it better. Right? And you don't need AI teams to be able to do all of this. Use in e-commerce, one of the biggest pain point always has been uh, vendors uploading products and not giving enough details. Sorry. All of this today can be filled using generative AI very, very easily. Personalized product recommendations, detect fake product reviews, virtual try-ons. I mean, this has been a very old problem, right? And the world is again trying to look at it very, very seriously in terms of what can be done using generative AI. Finance side, you'll be surprised how much the world has moved on. Uh, I will give you one of the best examples that I've heard. All of us must have heard of Bloomberg Terminal. It is this machine that every analyst inside Bloomberg has access to, which has all the financial data that is possible in the world today, right? And based on various data, the analysts used to come up with various strategies on hedging the bets. Now, what they have also done is that they have fed all this data and creating what is called as Bloomberg GPT. Bloomberg GPT has been integrated with Bloomberg Terminal, and now what it is doing is it is not just giving information in certain ways, which we have already seen earlier, right? Summarization and other aspects, but it is also creating the very investment strategies. Some of the early results from Bloomberg show that the kind of strategies human analysts create is not what the kind of strategies that a Bloomberg GPT is creating, right? Which raises a more fundamental question. I'm not going to go into the depths of it, right? People have also seen this in images side of it, that AI generated art is very different from human generated art. So it looks like in the creativity space, there are two sub buckets so far: human, uh, human first creativity and the machine creativity, and the two seems to be different from each other. So people are applying those kind of techniques in the finance world to optimize portfolios, to define goals, to do simulations of various circumstances, help investors identify opportunities based on past market performance, right? Generate recommendations on various products that you can offer to your end users, right? Compliance is a very big aspect of finance. Can we make it a more shorter and a more concise process, right? Can you catch fraud in a better way? Can you help your end user understand their various policies that they often buy? This could be insurance, this could be other kind of policies that they might be buying in a better way, right? Healthcare again lead to better patient outcomes through personalized treatments, streamline medical services, reduce operational costs in several ways. So, like doctor notes about services, a doctor has written. Now, a doctor, if you ask a doctor to type in the whole thing in machine, it is painful for them. That is not something that they should be doing. Can machines do all of this? It does not mean that you start looking at taking the human out of the whole equation. The best way I can suggest you based on my 20 years of journey is look at all the things that a human does in a particular flow, look at the most important aspects, look at the aspects that are redundant, that are mundane, that are taxing. Those are the places where you should start applying generative AI and see if you can remove the mundane part and keep the most crucial part with the human. That's a great way to start looking at AI on a whole. Okay. uh, Develop new drugs. I don't know how many of you know this, but some of the greatest gains from AI in the industry so far has come from new drug discovery. where AI models are creating new kind of molecules based on various properties that are fed to them, and then the pharma companies are creating these molecules in their labs and then testing them for the desired properties, right? So those who might be closer to maths might understand this statement. In maths, there are two aspects. One is creating a conjecture, and second is proving a conjecture. You need greatest amount of creativity in coming up with a conjecture. This is very analogous to the drugs as well. Being able to imagine a drug molecule and then testing the drug molecule for the desired property. It turns out that AI is amazingly good at the former part of it. And drug discovery is typically couple of $1 billion game that spans anywhere between 10, 15, 20 years. So any impact that you can make here, it will be a great win for the pharma companies. And many of you will be surprised that other than the, I would say, the top 10, 15 tech companies of the world who are hiring the top AI talent, it is the pharma companies. It is the Johnson and Johnson. It is the Bleachum. It is the GSKs of the world that have already built AI team which are of the size 300, 500, 800. In some cases, they are even setting up center of excellence and competing with the tech companies for the topmost AI talent. Okay, uh, identify molecules, proteins, create these targeted drugs, simulate outcomes of clinical trial, mitigate risk, and match patient profiles for trials to increase the assessment. Right, in trials, one of the key aspects is who is the right most suitable person for a given kind of a drug, given all the details of the drugs, right? AI is has proved to be fairly good at being able to match drug properties to the kind of humans on which it should be tried upon. I'll take a quick pause. Any questions? So if you look at education itself, right? I mean, if I don't know how many of you have tried, but all of you should go back and do this. Uh, I have purchased this software for my son. So Khan Academy introduced this tutor whereby it can go over every single step and tell you, it's an assistant tutor, where the mistake is. So if you take basic class 3, class 4, grade 3, grade 4 kind of sums, and you want your kids to do step by step, so it can do a step by step marking. It's a great utility, right? It is all largely a product of generative AI. Use case in designing precise question answering systems on a dump of it. See again, right? I mean, you can always create FAQs and Q&As on top of it. Again, what will matter is the accuracy over there, how much deep you want to go in, how much seriously you want to take people to take those things, right? Uh, a food recipe, you can afford your systems to go wrong. You can't afford to do the same thing with the drug discovery, right? So what you also have to keep in mind, right? And I'll introduce. So one of the things I teach in the course is a framework that you can apply to any of the use cases and figure out, is this a good enough use case or not, right? One of the key indicators or key attributes you need to keep in mind is all AI systems will make mistakes. What is the cost of mistake in your use case? That is a very valuable aspect. Okay, transportation, massive uh, application, right? I will give you one of the problems that we had worked on for one of the largest supply chain companies in the world. So imagine there is some port on which there is some fire that has happened. There's a fire incident that has happened. Now, for the large part of the world, this is a very minor news. But for a supply chain company that has operations globally, this is a extremely important news. Now, typically, this kind of a news, one, they want it very quickly. Two, you'll find that this information comes in not on popular portals. Maybe somebody have tweeted somewhere, right? And this one tweet among millions and millions of tweets is extremely important for no one else but this supply chain company, right? This is a project we had done almost a decade ago, whereby we tried to create a system that could sniff needle out of haystacks, right? Today you can build those kind of systems in a much better way with much better accuracies, and the kind of implications it has is amazing and massive in terms of billions of dollars, right? uh, can you forecast future transportation needs, allocate resources? So all of us have known self-driving cars, right? I think one of the places where self-driving cars will have, or self-driving technology will have greatest impact, if not cars, right? Because roads are a very chaotic environment. But a use case where they'll seem to be beautifully fit in is cases where there is much less chaotic environment, like railway tracks and the open seas of the world. So I think in next 2 to 3 years you'll see large number of ships being driven in a autopilot way. I don't know if it's a pilot or whatever it is called. The bunch of people who navigate ships. Okay. Uh, Technology we all understand, right? Very soon you'll have co-pilot for everything, right? Think of any product, right? One of the huge problems is that when a user comes or tries a tool for the first time, they're not fully aware of the flows. And what a lot of people tend to see is that, especially in this B2B game, is that users who get stuck in flows don't use the product enough. And because they don't use the product enough, they don't go beyond the trial stage. Now, today with generative AI, it is very easily possible to create co-pilots for your product whose whole job is to assist users when they get stuck in flows. Right? This is a great use case. Help people who are less technical in roles, right? Go about doing things. So imagine uh, somebody is not very good at tech, right? Imagine, so like my father still cannot book an Uber because he just doesn't understand apps enough, right? But he knows how to converse, right? Why can't Uber create a interface where a large part of it can be carried out and it's worth an experiment, right? Via a conversation and being able to book the cab or whatever you're trying to do, right? So in the interest of time, I'm going to speed up. Legal, of course, there are a lot of use cases. However, the problem with legal is that the cost of a mistake is very high, right? One wrong word in a technical document in the court of law can have very serious implications. Likewise, even in healthcare. So you need to be extremely careful in the world of health tech, in the world of legal. Real estate, AI generated buyer property profiles, matching, being able to create maps of houses, being able to do interior designing. I don't know how many of you have tried, but try and use. There are a bunch of tools by which you can really design the interior of your house fairly well, right? All of this is gonna change the landscape, right? From documents as well. Again, documents, one needs to do a lot of manual checking as well, but still a lot of things can be expedited, right? uh, what you all need to remember, and I'll just take 5 more minutes. There are 110 other use cases, but these are some very important lessons. Mistakes are part and parcel of AI systems. If a AI system is making a mistake, it is not a bug. It is not the mistake of your AI team. Unlike in software, if there is a mistake, it's a bug, and it means some engineer have not done their job well. right? Here is example that I'm showing you of one of the state of the art systems from a unicorn company, where the prompt was Mother Teresa fighting poverty. There are multiple bad things with this image. One, of course, it misunderstood the notion of fighting. Biggest issue, its interpretation of what is poverty as a number of black kids, right? Using AI in scenarios where cost of a mistake is very high is a very bad choice, right? Health tech is one of them. Self-driving is one of them, right? These are great where cost of a mistake is low. Even if a prediction or the outcome goes bad, big deal. You can always retry, right? This is where generative AI, one of the biggest reasons generative AI has become extremely popular in so-called content creation is for this one reason. The cost of a mistake is very, very low, right? Here is an example where a top person from movies tried to create his own persona images using generative AI. He got some horrible results, right? But then, big deal, right? What happened? At most, he posted some of these images on social and made fun of it. It is not that your company got 110 legal notices and the very existence came under the question mark, right? In a cat versus dog kind of problem, it's okay to make a cost mistake, right? If a cost of mistake is high, you need to think very, very carefully. As product teams, as leaders, do not get fixated by mistakes. I've seen a lot of scenarios where a founder or a CXO will come, say, okay, I'll try the AI system, give three, four, five inputs. Imagine all of them come back as wrong. Don't label it that the system is bad. That's not the right way of judging AI systems, right? Uh, just as you would like to be judged more thoroughly and not just by your two, three, five mistakes, that's also the right way to judge AI system. So create comprehensive data sets, evaluate, run your systems on them, and then that will paint a more realistic picture. Okay. Don't use anecdotal mistakes to argue why a certain model is good or why a certain model is not so good. Don't get enamored by uh, popular demos, especially today's LinkedIn is full of 30-second demos of this AI have done this AI have done that. I'll give you a very simple example. Go and generate a lot of human images with whatever tool you want to look. Look very carefully at hands. You will find in most images, most human hands have either four fingers or six fingers. Right? The devil lies in the details. Right? All demos are like lipstick in a pig. Like I said, what will always save you is build a comprehensive data set, rigorously test your AI models and system. Whatever numbers, metrics comes out of them, that is a most realistic picture. This is extremely important if you're selling AI in mature markets like US. This is again from one of the workshops. Ishwar is SVP of a e-commerce company, and they were looking at a bunch of tools. A bunch of sales rep came, all good talk, all of them claiming great AI products. Ishwar applied the tip that I shared in all my workshops, right? Where they created a small data set, ran the tools. Interestingly, all those tools did extremely bad. Okay, so do not go by anecdotal examples on either side, good or bad. Uh, there is always a challenge in adoption, right? Uh, but with the AI wave, what you will find is that you have to start early. If you guys as leaders do not start early, a bunch of smart kids sitting in a corner of the world can absolutely create some killer products and overrun your business overnight, right? Generative AI, I mean, there's an image, you can take it as a take home from this whole talk, right? Not the best thing for prediction, forecasting, decision intelligence, segmentation, classification, I would say even recommendation, right? The pre-generative AI, if I were to call it, or the more simpler AI is far better at handling these kind of use cases. Content generation and conversational user interfaces is, I think, the greatest power of generative AI. I have had the opportunity of creating and incubating multiple AI teams in my journey. I have always maintained that my AI product and manager needs to be a kick-ass one. Far more. So if I have to choose between a kick-ass AI product manager and a kick-ass AI scientist, I'll always first choose a kick-ass AI product manager. And you'll see that this whole landscape is going to shift very, very quickly, right? Product teams have to undergo drastic upskilling very, very quickly. If you don't do that, you're pretty much risking your own survival. You don't, and one of the best proofs of this I can give you is uh, Netflix last year created a job whereby for an AI product manager in Silicon Valley, they were offering up to 900K as a salary. When was the last time you ever heard a product manager get a salary like that? There must be reasons. Okay. I have a AI product manager community that we run. the, we already have some 300 people out there. These are across leaders from across the globe. So you can always join this community. Just follow this particular URL and you'll be able to join the community. If you are interested in the workshop that I and Malti are doing starting from this Saturday, this is the QR code. This is the URL. I'll take questions now. Sorry, if you have questions, please unmute yourself and ask. Okay, Jack. Okay, there are reasons. I mean, this is a more separate discussion inside the fundamentals of computer vision. We can have a separate discussion. You can ping me. Chow, what is the link to the document you mentioned to read about AI mistakes? Okay, I think Shirish has also posted a chat. I'll post the link again. Okay. How can EMs transition to PMs? Interesting. I think, see again, right? Engineering is about how to build something. Product is about what to build. So these are two very different things. Actually, I think this forum might be more suitable to answer how PMs can go into AI PMs. Uh, yeah, I would not be able to take this question now. Can someone paste? Avik, I will try and do this if I can. Okay. No, okay. There's a link. Any questions?
Yeah, hi,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
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 yeah. This is Jay Prakash.
yeah.
Yeah, it is attempt to start learning AI, sir. And I am a web developer, and I need some guidance.
Again, not the right forum, Jay. I think this is more from an engineering point of view or a product point of view. See,
Yeah,
again, one of the mistakes that a lot of product teams are doing is they're trying to learn how to build a model. How to build a model is not the job of product teams. It is the job of the AI teams. The job of the product teams is, are we building the right product? And there are aspects of that you need to bake in with respect to, like I said, feedback loops, control loops, human in the loop, data collection, metrics, use cases. Those are what product managers and product teams have to focus about, which is what we teach in the workshop. uh, Jack, you had a question. Are there reliable methods to preventing hallucination? Jack, no matter what you do, like I said, all AI systems will make mistakes. Now you can reduce them, right? But you cannot completely solve them. So one of the ways to understand this, and I think what you have written is, you yourself are an AI scientist, you'll understand this. The better you make your model, so imagine you have now taken your model for whatever it does, right? Say from 93 to 95. Now, in order to improve it further, the amount of effort needed will be exponentially higher, right? Because now the number of edge cases that it is not able to get is small, but that's how it is. And if you have to really solve all those edge cases, you need to get every aspect of them right, including being able to collect massive data sets, being able to do massive amount of experimentation. So interestingly, as your model becomes better, uh, the effort to improve it further will only become exponentially, and cost will become exponentially higher. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense. How can I transition? I think for Jack, for you, this should be fairly straightforward. Again, I don't know what time zone you are in. Can you ping me separately, and maybe you and I can have a discussion, right? For you, it should be fairly straightforward to transition into a AI product management. You can always write to me at hello@gradient.advisors.ai. Thank you, Chow, for the kind words. Thank you, Martin.
Okay, Anuj, one question from my end. I'm from
Yeah,
Siemens and we are into industrial automation
yeah.
and we provide automation solutions along with IoT and digital twin solutions, you know. So wanted to know where in your experience you have been asked for solutions for some use cases in this area. So if you're aware of
See,
it,
again,
then
mostly when it comes to, I would say the starting point has to be alerting. So imagine one of the problems in industries, I mean, in those kind of factory environments and all of this, imagine somebody does not do a very good job of auditing, right? Auditing the entire pipelines, all the infra, whatever is there, right?
Mhm.
That can lead to a lot of loss, right?
Okay,
Uh, Here is a case where you're not trying to replace humans, but what you're trying to do is that if a human makes a mistake, then the cost of a mistake is very high. To double check, can we also have AI over there, right? Which
okay,
requires a very sophisticated web of IoT devices and all of that stuff. But think of the oil industry, right? With
yeah,
whatever is happening in Middle East, people trying to attack each other's oil resources, or think of humans inspecting aircraft before every takeoff, right? These are scenarios where you can't afford humans to make mistakes, and that itself becomes very interesting scenarios.
okay. Okay, so one more last question. Can generative AI be used for prediction of fault messages? Let's say in case of a
I would contest that big way. The
okay,
biggest challenge in those use cases is data collection.
o-
Not having enough data, and especially faults are once in a lifetime events, right? So this is this problem of what is called as anomaly detection.
yep,
I've still, all the teams that I know, generative AI is not the answer. You can create a V0 to
mm,
maybe create a demo and impress a client, but the production grade system will not come from generative AI, right? And this is what I exactly put here as well.
Hmm. Yes, correct. You're right. So it's low.
And generative AI is not the answer to everything. It is like trying to build a bazooka to trying to kill a mosquito. It's a very wrong choice.
Yes.
One of the things in AI, everyone must remember, most of you might not be knowing this term, but it is the Occam's razor. The idea is to find the simplest model that will get the job done.
Correct. Yeah. Understood. Thanks, Anuj.
Thank you. Any other questions? Please unmute. Yeah, Martin, I'll also put these recordings. We actually also have a YouTube channel where we put some of this stuff. Shirish, if you're around, can you just put in the YouTube channel link?
Yep, I'm just putting that. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Please unmute yourself or raise your hand. Be happy to answer them. Okay. If not, then AI agents are the new buzz. How reliable are they according to you? Okay, so again, Martin, right? I mean, see, reliability is a very different game. Reliability comes from testing, but the whole idea of agentic is, can we convert a lot of simpler flows, right, and try and automate those aspects? If you think carefully, I discussed this whole idea of a helper when you are new to the product. It is such a great use case, right? It's all about, there are workflows that successful customers take. Can I push the customers that are stuck down those successful workflows? Right now, imagine you have this help. All this help in product in 2 years from time will become this. Thanks, Deepak, for the kind words. Shirish has put in the channel. Thank you so much, Shirish. Do you have an opinion on different AI infrastructure architectures being developed in Silicon Valley? I think that is a separate topic, Deepak. You and I can debate. I don't think so. That will interrupt the larger group. Please do join our YouTube channel. You'll also find a lot of other talks, including the talk on why AI product management requires a serious upskilling. Yeah, I mean, whatever, just fill the form on nav.ai. Team will look into it, and depending on what you have filled as form, they will allow, will kind of approve or decline the membership. Okay, any other questions for me? If not, I would like to thank each one of you. I know it's pretty late, but I hope this was worth your time. For folks took who are joined from US, skipping their early morning meetings, thank you so much once again. We'll try and do another version of this. If you really loved your talk, love this talk, please go put out the kind word for us on Twitter, put out the kind word on LinkedIn. You can always tag me and my company, Gradient Advisors. Thank you so much for this. Any questions? I'm still around. Happy to take it up. If people have issues with recording, I can stop the recording. I mean, in case they are not comfortable asking questions.